Hello, Catholic Exodus here with one more parting thought for 2010. I look forward to having many more meaningful interactions with you in 2011. I've enjoyed our discussions here on YouTube. This one concerns what has come to be known as Mary's Fiat. When the angel Gabriel had explained the plan to Mary that she would give birth to the Savior, she answered, "Behold, the maidservant of the Lord, let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. This agreement has come to be called Mary's Fiat. But a fiat is a decree or order usually associated with those in authority. The suggestion that her cooperation was necessary, or else the plan of salvation would have not come to pass. This is patently absurd, however. The plan of salvation was established before the foundation of the world. 1 Peter 1:20, Revelation 13:8, and more. If Mary would not have been willing, God could and would have chosen someone else. You will note what happened in the book of Esther. There was a genocide planned against the Jews, orchestrated by Haman, and Mordecai asked Esther to intervene, since she was the queen, to intervene with the king. But he's told her, "For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place." Okay, in other words, God did not need Esther to save the Jews. He did not need Mary to save us by bringing forth Jesus. And you'll also note a very important point that's often overlooked here is that in Luke 1, which is by far the Catholic's favorite verse, every Catholic I meet on the street, I was at a church one day handing out literature and engaging in some discussions, and along comes this young lady who was what the Catholic Church calls missionary servants of the Word. So she came along, and I wanted to talk about the real presence. I wanted to talk about praying to the saints, and all she did was open up Luke 1. That was her whole gig, talking, showing the part about Mary and saying, how would you feel if someone insulted your mother, which is obviously this prevalent idea that to not venerate Mary and pray to her every day is somehow insulting Jesus' mother. Anyway, so what Luke 1 actually says, Gabriel says, "And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and shall bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus." There is no request here. What Gabriel is telling her is what God is going to do. It's not, we need help with this plan of salvation thing. Mary, you want to help us out? We'd really appreciate it. There is no imploring her to participate. She is simply told what is going to happen. And yes, she does say, "Let it be." I agree. And as many of God's servants have agreed with his plans in the past and participated, some not so willingly, like Jonah. But there's no decision on her part here. You know, she's told this is how it's going to be. So our salvation did not depend on Mary's alleged fiat. If we were to start giving man credit for God's deliverances, then surely we would have to credit Noah for his fiat. In Genesis 7, after all, if Noah had not consented to build the ark, then, according to the Mary's Fiat reasoning, the human race would have ended right then and there. You will also note on a somewhat of a tangent that there are no feasts for anybody, for individuals in the Old Testament. And I mention this because there are all these feasts regarding the life of Mary that the Catholic and Orthodox churches observe and even impose as compulsory, obligatory feasts. Now there are no New Testament feasts, obviously, but if there were, it would be radical to even invent them on our own, which the Bible does not forbid us to have feasts. The Purim and Esther, apparently God was not involved with that. That seems to be man's doing, but it's okay. But you certainly can't impose it upon anyone to observe it. There was no feast for Noah, who apparently saved the world, although Hebrews 11 says he condemned the world by his faith. There was no feast for Moses, not even for Moses. The feasts always had to do with what God did, not man. So to make a big deal out of this Mary conceding and agreeing with God's plan and being a participant in it willingly is absolutely absurd. So none of this makes any sense. And I just wanted you to think about that. That's a very, very small point from a long article that is on my website, catholicexodus.org. And I recommend you go there, go to the articles index, and read the article entitled The Role of Mary in the Life of the Believer. If you put your printer in landscape mode, you can print it right from there. There's a lot of things there that take many scriptures that don't directly deal with Mary, but putting things in perspective about how unthinkable it is from a biblical perspective to venerate her, to elevate her above the status of any other saint. And I think you'll really enjoy that, so I recommend you go and print that and read that and give that some thought. Anyway, look forward to talking to you next year, and have a good rest of the year, and God bless you all. Bye.